Marc Voigt is up next. Hello, sir. Welcome. Welcome. You're coming from Immutep. This is IMMP on the NASDAQ, and you are the CEO and Executive Director.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick, for having me.
It's absolutely my pleasure. And where are you zooming in from today?
Actually, from Berlin in Germany.
I knew it, and I am so jealous. I am so jealous. A place I've never been, haven't traveled to yet. Maybe we'll host a conference there when all of this is blown over. Who knows?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, Marc, I'll let you dive in.
We share the same issues, though, with COVID and everything. And
oh God, yeah.
But thank you. It's great to be here, and happy to share my screen and present Immutep, if that's okay.
Yes, please do. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we are actually the global leader in terms of LAG-3 therapeutics, a specific immune checkpoint, and that matters. I will hopefully bring across in the next few minutes. My forward-looking statement, first of all. Now, Immutep, we are an innovative biotech company active in immuno-oncology as well as in autoimmune diseases, operationally active in the United States and Europe, as well as in Australia. And we have here the rare situation that a biotech company is the global leader for a specific so-called immune checkpoint, here LAG-3 or lymphocyte activation gene 3. Many of you know, of course, immune checkpoints like PD-1 or CTLA-4 with multi-billion dollar blockbuster drugs like Keytruda, Opdivo, Yervoy based upon that. So it's a big space, it's a big promise, and of course we try to deliver, and actually I believe we have been delivering in the past. So we have good clinical potential with our different programs, and also I think it's important to know that we actually collaborate with the big pharmaceutical industry like Novartis or Pfizer or Merck in the US or Merck in Germany, GSK, and so on and so forth. Our work is based on the invention of Frédéric Triebel. He is actually the worldwide leading scientist for LAG-3, immunologist, oncologist, and a pioneer in the field of cancer immunotherapy. And actually LAG-3, I believe, is the most promising new and emerging immune checkpoint. And that LAG-3 matters, you can see over here. Symbolized by the 4 green arrows, you see our programs, and the blue bars are symbolizing programs from other companies. So at the bottom, to start with our autoimmune approaches, you see 2 different programs, IMP 761 and GSK 781. So 2 unique approaches in autoimmune diseases. On top of this page, you see a program called eftilagimod alpha, and we will discuss this in a little bit more depth in the coming minutes. Also unique. And then our partner Novartis, LAG-525, it's a so-called blocking antibody. Many of you know it as an immune checkpoint inhibitor. And almost all competition is going on in that field, in the blocking antibody field. And clearly leading there is Bristol Myers Squibb with relatlimab. And this could actually bring a big change to the whole field. The reality is in immuno-oncology, and you have many, many different approaches there, the reality is that since the approval of PD-1, yeah, everyone is waiting for the next big checkpoint. And Bristol Myers Squibb will have a phase 3 readout mid of this year, I believe. They say publicly first half of this year. And this could mean that LAG-3 would actually, besides everything what we are doing, the first fully validated immune checkpoint beyond CTLA-4 and PD-1, something the market is maybe waiting for since 6-7 years. And as we are the only LAG-3 pure play and the leading player in the field, I believe that could positively reflect on us. But back to what we do, it's exciting enough. At the bottom, you see our preclinical asset in autoimmune diseases. We had a very nice publication in Journal of Immunology last year. And then you see more clinical trials for eftilagimod, including 1 clinical trial for COVID as a treatment. Eftilagimod is an immune booster, and I think there is a good chance that in COVID, where we support an investigator-initiated trial, so we are not actively investing in that field ourselves, but we are scientifically, clinically supporting it, that we see some results from a double-blind randomized phase 2 clinical trial. But we focus on oncology, on cancer, where we have been putting together, I believe, a good program, good clinical program, different phase 2 clinical trials, phase 1 clinical trials, partly in conjunction with the industry. So for instance, with Merck, collaboration around Keytruda, so a clinical trial collaboration, and with Pfizer and German Merck, avelumab. And we have out-licensed years ago this program in the territory of China to EOC. The second part of our pipeline, so obviously we have 4 programs, and here you see 2 of them. The second part of our pipeline is fully funded by the pharmaceutical industry. So on the one hand side, we exclusively worldwide out-licensed LAG-525 to Novartis, 5 clinical trials and well above 1,000 patients. And then with GSK, we have been out-licensing years ago GSK 781 on a worldwide exclusive basis, successfully completed 2 phase 1 clinical trials, needed to stop a trial in ulcerative colitis. But we will hear more from both of the programs from Novartis and GSK during the course of this year. Now a bit more regarding eftilagimod. So eftilagimod is a unique antigen-presenting cell activator. So there we use LAG-3 as a tool to activate the antigen-presenting cells. It's a potential pipeline in a product, meaning we are not treating a specific cancer type, but we treat the patient's immune system. We boost the immune system, leading via the physiological way to more CD8 T cells, CD4 NK cells, and so on and so forth. We have potentially low cost of goods. It's an agonist concept with 30 milligram every 2 weeks, meaning that we don't need to give a high amount of drug to see the activation effect. And I think this is very important, especially not only for the treatment landscape of today, but the treatment landscape of tomorrow and the drug pricing debate. The reality is you have different combinations, but the healthcare system needs to afford that. So I believe with eftilagimod, we do not have a margin killer, but a highly attractive program with low cost of goods. Of course, we have a lot of data. We have been presenting exciting results at the San Antonio Breast Cancer Conference in December, and the market reacted quite nice to that. So it's a phase 2B, so a double-blind, randomized clinical trial in different European countries. Of course, we have also an IND in the States. And we presented in December last year overall survival data. And we will present, that's the plan, mid of this year, final overall survival data. The data is available via a poster on our website. I just would like to show a glimpse of the data. So out of the immune monitoring on fresh blood cells and up to 70 patients out of the 226 patients. So what we saw was a statistically significant increase of cytotoxic CD8 T cells of the eftilagimod group versus the placebo group, and it's a combination of chemotherapy plus eftilagimod versus chemotherapy plus placebo. So in placebo and active control, and we saw a statistically significant increase over the course of time in terms of having more CD8 T cells. And I think this is a good proof of principle. And actually, we also saw an impact on overall survival that we can link in a statistically significant way to the cytotoxic CD8 T cell count. So proof of concept, proof of principle in a double-blind randomized clinical trial. So it was the first time actually that a new class of programs, the antigen-presenting cell activators that we have been showing there in this disease, and metastatic breast cancer is a tough setting, a meaningful overall survival increase in a randomized setting. And we prioritize, of course, also the discussions with the EMA and FDA. Actually, the clinical trial of APEC is based on 2 scientific advisors with the EMA. Now, we have also the trial with anti-PD-1, trial we do in conjunction and collaboration with Merck, phase 2, up to 183 patients in 3 different indications, in non-small cell lung cancer, head and neck cancer, and also second-line non-small cell lung cancer. Also here, just a glimpse of data. You see long-term durable responses, including complete responses of this combination. We have patients who respond irrespective of the so-called PD-L1 expression. So Keytruda just works well if the PD-L1 level is quite high. And here in head and neck cancer, you see even with a 2% expression, we see a complete response and long-term durable. I think that's quite good to see. And we presented this data at the SITC in the States in November. And if you compare that historic comparison to monotherapy data, you see that we make quite a big difference here. So it's very, very promising. And this is also why we press released last week, actually, that we will do a clinical trial, a randomized clinical trial, a phase 2b, together with Merck in first-line head and neck cancer. Also, the trial with Pfizer, very encouraging. So we have, it's a 12-patient trial, of course, for most safety-oriented, but also anecdotal efficacy. And we plan to present final data during the course of this year. Now, our out-licensed part, on the one hand side, to Novartis. Novartis holds a worldwide exclusive license to develop and commercialize LEG-525. So we have been receiving milestone payments. Hopefully we will receive more, and later on, if the product is on the market and registered, then we are eligible to royalties. And currently 4 different phase 2 clinical trials, and again, fully funded by our partner Novartis. Same applies to GlaxoSmithKline. It's a very exciting deal as well. We are eligible to milestone payments once these milestones are met, and a few of them have been met in the past, and of course later on royalties. And even though the trial in ulcerative colitis needed to be stopped, they have been successfully completing 2 phase 1 trials, one in psoriasis, and they will provide updates around this exciting program during the course of the year. IMP761, our preclinical asset, could be a potential game changer, the way you treat autoimmune diseases. It is addressing the root cause of the disease. So it's not a symptomatic approach. It's a potentially curative approach because we address here the autoimmune effector T cells. So the troublemakers in different autoimmune settings, actually more than 90% of autoimmune settings. And we use LAG-3 as a marker to identify the troublemakers and temporarily silencing them. So this could be a big potential. We are in steps in terms of GMP manufacturing, and of course we would like to bring it to clinical development as soon as we can. We have other partnerships. In October last year, we have been announcing that LabCorp is teaming up with us, so they desire to have access to our LAG-3 expertise. We, of course, honored to enter into a partnership with them, which we did. Via this partnership, we are also part of the immuno-oncology diagnostics market in terms of LAG-3. And I think it tells you a little bit of how the maturity of LAG-3 is seen by us and by others. So the corporate snapshot, we are a dually listed company on the one hand side on the Australian Stock Exchange, and then of course on the NASDAQ, IMMP is our ticker symbol. Market cap, I think, is publicly available, of course. We have a good cash balance. So at end of last year, more than $40 million US. So a very strong cash position for us. We are not big cash consumers. I believe we spend our funds wisely, and I believe It is, or at least should be, a firm principle in biotech to allocate shareholders' money. This is what it is at the end of the day, wisely to your clinical programs, and negotiate and try to control your expenses as much as you can. So this actually gives us a cash runway into 2023. So we are in a good cash position, and we are feeling very comfortable here. Now, the news flow in 2020, and I would like to encourage everyone also to have a look back. I believe we delivered. Of course, we have also been subject to the turbulences in terms of COVID, and the data seen in that light, but we delivered in terms of APEC. We delivered in terms of our other clinical trials together with Merck and Pfizer. We entered into a new partnership, and I believe in partnerships as a firm principle, just to stress that point, of biotech. At the end of the day, for most biotechs, big pharma is practically the customer, and you should know your customer, and you should discuss with them, and you should enter into collaborations in order to speed up your development and to have a drug development which is on target. And of course, we have been expanding also our intellectual property portfolio, and we are in a strong financial position, supported by many Australian and US institutional investors, as well as retail investors, of course. In 2021 now, we are facing hopefully an even more exciting year. We plan to see final data from APEC, the double-blind randomized trial. So we saw the first overall survival, and now the second overall survival follow-up should be due during mid of this year. Also data in terms of non-small cell lung cancer, head and neck cancer. So from the other phase 2, TACTI-002. Actually, in November last year, we expanded that clinical trial to have more than 100 patients in non-small cell lung cancer first line, a very big market. And very exciting that we will start up a new randomized clinical trial in first line head and neck cancer. So again, a different indication which we can address, and where we have hopefully a good chance to change the treatment landscape for the benefit of the patients. Also, final data from the INSIGHT trial, an investigator-initiated trial we do together with Pfizer. Updates from IMP 761. And of course, we hope also for data from and updates from our other collaborations. And we have, as you saw, many of those. And I would like to point again to the fact that we may see a very important change for the LAG-3 and immuno-oncology landscape as a whole, because on the one hand side, we are on the way to validate LAG-3, and everyone has access to our data. And we have more and final data during the course of this year, but also Bristol Myers Squibb. We don't have a partnership with them, but I would like to point to them as they expect a phase 3 readout in, they said, first half of this year. So we are the only LAG-3 pure play, could be very exciting. So to sum up, we are the global leader in terms of LAG-3. We have 4 different programs. 2 of them are out-licensed. We have multiple active clinical trials, multiple catalysts, and many readouts during 2021. The data in the past provides us, I believe, with a robust and strong fundament. And of course, we are discussing with the regulatory authorities about the things to come. And we will continue also with business development. And yeah, I mentioned the partnerships we are having in place already. So yeah, thank you very much. Again, quite exciting to be here, and I hope I was able to show you a little bit of what we're doing.
Thank you, Marc. We very much appreciate that. Again, before I ask you a couple of quick questions, folks in the chat, this is IMMP Immutep. So Marc, a couple of questions for you, but first of all, let's highlight some of these partnerships. And I know you did that, but I'm curious as to what it means, or perhaps what significance it might have for your company and for the trajectory of your company long term to already have such partnerships with folks like Novartis, GlaxoSmithKline, Merck, Pfizer, and not yet with Bristol Myers Squibb, but good Lord, it sounds like you probably could. So yeah, I'm interested to learn more about what that means for you guys in the long term.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I believe it's important to have a balanced portfolio so that you have, and we have 4 different approaches, that you also team up in terms of exclusive worldwide licenses so that other partners can also fund the ongoing clinical work. And obviously, Big Pharma, they know what they are doing. And we can have, of course, and we had that in the past, income via that, revenues via that. And if one of those programs reaches the market, I mean, yeah, that could be actually very, very attractive. And for the other part of the pipeline where we have either a license like with EOC in China or clinical trial collaborations, we have access to the knowledge base. We can design clinical trials which are on target. We can identify the hurdles, and we can combine strengths. As a biotech company, we are naturally maybe a little bit more aggressive, but we always have an ongoing good dialogue. Big Pharma is a sounding board, and who knows, down the track, maybe 2 more, as you see deals are being done in the industry. This is not uncommon.
Yeah, no, and I very much enjoy it, right? And not staying in your own lane is kind of fun, especially in this space. So, okay, and I think you covered this towards the end of your presentation, but I'd love to just highlight this again for our investors who are watching. The timelines around some of these trials, especially those that are late stage. And I think you referenced a few of them, the APAC trial that you expect data from quite soon, and then the head and neck cancer. There was one other, but they're late stage at this point. So I wonder if you have a specific timeline there.
Yeah, our public guidance is around mid of this year. If you look back, we present or try or prefer to present at meaningful clinical conferences. So this may provide everyone with an idea what we are aiming for.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much for that. And it's been a good year thus far, right? And I wonder how much, obviously, you attribute that to the, to all of the flurry of activity around the pandemic and everyone jumping in to try and solve that. But also just what it means for you guys. I mean, the stock looks good. It looks like revenue's up. It certainly seems like you guys are moving quickly.
Yeah, we are moving quickly. However, we try to be also relatively conservative. I believe in biotech as a long-term sustainable journey. So you have to deliver. You have to earn also the trust from investors and shareholders. But actually, I believe we are on a very good way, and we have a number of catalysts ahead, and we have also. As the whole space maybe benefited a little bit in terms of the pandemic, that you have more focus on the healthcare industry. And we are also happy to support in a double-blind randomized trial with eftilagimod, a clinical trial in Czech Republic, an investigator-initiated trial. So an immune booster at an early stage of the disease is a good idea, because there is no more powerful drug against COVID or other infectious diseases than human CD8 T cell. It's our immune system which makes it mild for more than 85% of the whole population. And we give it a little bit of a push early on. Let's see if it makes a difference or not. But at least we wanted to support it.
Well, wonderful, and note taken. Quick is a relative term in the biotech industry, but moving well nonetheless. Marc, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
Patrick, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
And mine. So, folks, Immutep, IMMP, Marc Voigt, the CEO. Thank you, sir.